Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Dave Rogers, and I am the co-host today of International Women's Day 2021, presented by Voice of Men 360. And tonight's session will be exploring the opportunities to uplift and serve not only the men and boys movement, yet, of course, International Women's Day. We'll have speakers from around the world, male, female, and people who are looking to make a difference in their country. And so you're welcome today to add questions, to interact with us. This is going to be a stream today on Facebook Live, Voice of Men 360, and you can share that with your Facebook group. It's also going to be on YouTube. And so today we're exploring ways to assist men in their communication, in their dealing with the ups and downs of 2021, and particularly exploring some of the ways that we can build bridges, that we can encourage and support global dialogue, and we can really connect to the part of our heart that can uplift and serve humanity. And so I'm really grateful to be able to share today with people who have been working in the field of men and boys, in cross-cultural communication, and of course in unity and diversity. And so I'd like to also thank the team here at Voice of Men 360, Voice of Canada, in expressing opportunities to connect with people around the world. This organization was started with a movement supporting international men and boys and has moved on to make connections. And you'll be meeting a number of those connections from around the world today. And so if you have any questions, feel free to engage with your Facebook, with your YouTube, if you've got specific questions that can serve and help and uplift men and boys and their communication with women as we celebrate International Women's Day. It's amazing to see the number of events around the world today encouraging and supporting women in their efforts to develop more equity, to develop and nurture their voice, and in some cases to allow that roar of women to develop. We like to start our sessions here in Canada with a land blessing. And so if you would like to join me, you can take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can keep your eyes open, yet the blessing sounds like this. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabeg. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties, is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Mother Earth, Father Cosmos, thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity to connect, to express compassion and patience, and to look for ways that may uplift and serve and encourage everyone to have a voice of positivity, inclusion, and supporting unity in diversity. May all of our ancestors join us. May all of our love and light beings be part of this as we look to shift the communication, the connections worldwide. And with that, I'd like to definitely welcome any of our other speakers today, as my partner in the room, Mr. Sivam, is coordinating the different speakers from around the world that will come on and engage in conversation. One of the things that I did today in honor of International Women's Day was come up with this beautiful poem out of a book called We Moon. And it celebrates women. And the beautiful poem is When Women Lead. It's by Emily Kedar, 2019. We're led by the holy darkness of the womb, by the urgent spark of Earth's dreams. When women lead, progress turns in on itself, spirals into a rose. No more narrow arrow of industry, no more unrelenting growth. We know we need each other with our lives. We know that death and birth are both chords in this concert. We know to take only what is offered, to practice the honorable harvest, that earth understands consent, speaks in her own boundaried tongue. We know she feels our feet as we walk, that as this kind of intimacy matters, that our food is medicine, that our death is also nourishment. For the soil that we kin our kin. When women lead, we remember the great web, and we weave ourselves. When women lead, the world is repaired, thread by luminous thread. So, celebrating International Women's Day, we welcome other speakers who might be ready to come and talk and share the stage. And that's something that I'm very excited to be able to bring on at this moment. I'm going to start with somebody all the way from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Hello, Nirmala, and how are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Nirmala, can you do me a little favor and introduce yourself, share a little bit about, again, where you're from, and what does International Women's Day mean to you?
Sure. I'm an entrepreneur in Kuala Lumpur. I'm actually a financial consultant. And apart from that, I also have some other businesses that I run on my own. And by profession, I'm an ex-engineer. And okay, that's my professional background. Okay, what International Women's Day means for me is I believe that women, we are unique, we are strong, we are built to rule the world. Okay, International Women's Day is actually something that we celebrate together with the entire world to recognize the contributions women have given to the world, to the people around them, and the achievements they have achieved apart from whatever challenges they have faced, because women have a unique capability in them which they can actually multitask, and at the same time they are also very empowering. So I'm proud to be a woman, and I'm here to celebrate together with other women around the world to greater achievements and greater success to all the women out there.
That's fantastic. I guess if I was to ask another question is there a tradition in Malaysia right now that International Women's Day is celebrated? And what are some of the ways it's celebrated in Malaysia?
Certainly, we would be celebrating the same day, 8th of March. And here we will have, we used to have a grand celebration. Now with the current pandemic, celebration is still there, no doubt. But it's more of an online base, and we are actually gathering a lot of women out there here in Malaysia. And we have a lot of discussions, and we have seminars, and also a lot of conference to actually acknowledge the achievements of women here, and also to encourage them to uplift other women to also come along in the same journey and achieve greater things in this life, because we want to actually empower the women here to be able to achieve what they dream for. There's nothing that should stop them just because they're women. It's like, hey, come on, we can do anything that we want, and that's how we are here.
Bravo, Nirmala. That's fantastic. Let's use that word of dream as part of our journey today. Building in dreams, inviting dreams. And let me move across the ocean to the United States, where we have Miss Lynn. Lynn, would you be able to share a little bit about where you're from, where you are right now, and your full name, and perhaps an uplifting starting message for International Women's Day 2021? Hi, Lynn.
Let's see, there we are. Thank you so much for inviting me. I just want to give a shout out to voiceofmen360.org for inviting us as women here, because I think that's a key structure. My name is Lynn Chittick. I'm from California right now, but I originate from the Delaware Nation. So when you lit the candle for the indigenous, I'm from the Delaware Nation, and I lit my sage, and I just appreciate that so much from our indigenous cultures. I bring them to this table from the east, the west, the north, and the south. So it's one of the areas that I would love to say is I've been working in Torch, the Organization for Realizing Change in Humanity. And when we look at change and we look at the change makers, The old saying is, behind every good man is a good woman, you know, and this moment of time of mothers and women, of children. I've raised 2 sons and 3 daughters, and my daughters-in-law are both from Brazil. And I just want to put a shout out to them, because I watched them as young moms leaving their land, coming to a new land, which our ancestors, pretty much many of us, have all done. And so as we lose the moments of this idea of loss and of trauma and of uprooting, I want to say that today, for International Women's Day, it's time to root. It's time to root into the earth and the earth-based traditions. It's time to bring back the deep, deep wonder of peace, health, environment, and tech, the 4 issues of our world that I believe we've got a really beautiful gift to be able to use technology to really move that energy and to move that, you know, amazing gift that we each are from. When we eat food, we become. When we see in our mother's womb, when she ate food, we became. And so as we open ourselves to this platform, I'm just excited to meet Nirmala from across the sea, and you as my sister. I'm totally grateful you're here with me, standing with these men. And I'm grateful. I want to know Gerard. Sivan came onto our platform on Torch Tech, and I just appreciate the collaboration between this organization. And we're running the Women's International Day all day tomorrow, and you're all welcome to stop in. And Dave, I want to get to know you. Here you are, you know. And Michael, I don't know you as well. So what I do as a woman is try to get to know my brothers and sisters. And if I can go over the high mountain for the 21st century with you, that's what I want. And really go deep with you. Thank you.
That's beautiful, Lynn. And this idea of connecting and then communicating in a way that it does leave us both feeling listened to, respected, and perhaps inspired to step through any type of fear or doubt and move forward in the area of service. The next person I'm going to invite to the stage is Gerard, and he's here in Canada along with Sivam and myself. Gerard, would you like to unmute yourself, come up to the screen, and share a little bit about yourself, your mission, and in what ways are you celebrating International Women's Day?
Mabrika, Jopa Nanitang, Dak Abayu, Dak Dahoga. And it's good to be around friends. My Haudenosaunee name is Dahoga. And I'm talking and speaking from Natsasagwea, which is in Rockwood, Ontario, which is near Guelph. And I'm from the Karina Nation. And wampum carriers, and my family, we have wampum carriers of the Grand River Six Nation. When I say Karina, my friend there from Trinidad should know us as a colored people. That's a derogatory term given to people by the Spanish, meaning canibales, meaning the cannibals, but we weren't, we were just warriors. And so we have locations throughout the Americas of our peoples, in Suriname, in Central, and so that genetic link right up into up here, there's connections with the Mohawks and everything. And so I'm a veterinarian, and we are, my family and I, we travel nationally and internationally doing our traditional music, and we mix it with, how do you say, contemporary sounds to show that our people still exist and we can coexist, right? We are a people that are still here. We are a people that have adapted, right, to all that is happening around us. Until today, and until I was talking to Sivam, I really didn't know there was an International Women's Day. And so this is really, really interesting. Our society, we are from a matriarchal society. And what that means is that the woman is connected to the moon, her cycles. And this is to bring productivity, you know? And we as men have to guard that because it is sacred. And as a result of that relationship, it is, they have like a sixth sense, you know? And that's why the leaders of our clans are women, because they know what to bear children. They know how it is to bring up leaders. And hence, when it came to time of war, when a woman said it's time to fight, you know, it's a serious thing. And we as men, again, we have to protect that sacredness. And it's so important to us. You know, like for instance, my eldest daughter at the age of 15, she was one of the advisors to the Minister of Education here in Ontario to implement studies into curriculums into the Teachers College and in schools as well. My youngest one too, top in wrestling in all of Ontario. Right. And both of them, they actually wrestle. And I could actually go on more about that. My wife, again, in our language, we don't have a term for wife. That's a possessive thing. You know, again, it's about relationship. We are of one mind, right? And we come together. And that's what the example of the eagles are, right? A man and a woman coming together for life. You know, I could go on about
that's actually, Gerard, actually, it's beautiful that you're bringing in these really powerful expressions of relationships and bringing in the relationship with Mother Earth, Father Cosmos, the moon, and going back and having conversations that they're honoring is so prevalent. When we really look at the divine feminine and divine masculine, we move into a whole new different space. It's not combative and beating. No, it's nurturing and honoring. And I'm so glad that you're bringing that flavor, that wisdom into the discussion today. So one of my favorite expressions from the journeys that I've been doing is a beautiful word from India, and it's namaste. And namaste is the divine in me honors the divine in you. And it's just one of those words that in the journey, and the work that I've done with various First Nations cultures around the world, there's an honoring. And that's what today, International Women's Day celebration, we are honoring the woman, yet we're not doing it and pulling away from the man. We're actually allowing the man to be part of the honoring. And do we not feel great, Gerald, when we honor women?
For sure.
Let's bring in our next wonderful speaker. And when I read his bio, I was very excited. Mr. Michael Stewart, are you in the house? And let's see if that invitation rings out.
Yes.
There he is.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And where are you coming from? And share a little bit with your background with the audience today, Michael, please.
I'm coming from Trinidad and Tobago, and this is a twin island in the Caribbean. I live particularly in Tobago, the smaller of the two islands. And we are 116 square miles, about 60,000 persons live on the island, but it is one of the most beautiful islands of the entire Caribbean. I'm proud to say so. And I am the founder of a group called Be Men, Be Male Examples Now. It is a registered non-profit organization that make advocacy on behalf of men, their health and their issues. And you know, we are proud to be part of this event of celebration of International Women's Day, which is on March the 8th, and which, by the way, it is also my wife's birthday and our 35th anniversary. So there are three celebrations in one on this particular day. Yes. So I really want to praise Voice of Men 360 for the tremendous work that they are doing, both for men and in collaboration with the issues and the concerns of women.
Well, Michael, thank you very much. And if you want to see if your camera can come back in, we'll put you back on in a little while. I wanted to go to Nirmala. And Nirmala, what would be one or two ways that you see men and women communicating in a more uplifting, respectful way? I'd love to hear your perspective from yourself and also perhaps from Malaysia. Unmute, please.
I would say here in Malaysia, we pretty much have evolved and moved to a different level now. And we do kind of like women, we do seek our respect. So in that sense, men's nowadays, they pretty much respect us for who we are, because we are also debating a lot of equality right at the moment. But if you ask me, it's not much of an equality. We are here to strive to achieve greater heights and to achieve our dreams in life. So if most of the women here, we are going towards that path, that journey. So here currently we kind of like respect each other for their strength, for their capabilities, and what they can achieve, because we respect each other, and we also seek respect from the other opposite genders as well. So I would say things are pretty beautiful now compared to those days where you need to seek respect just because you're a woman. But now when you see most of the women here, they are pretty much, they are qualified, they are focusing on their career, at the same time they are having work-life balance, and they know what they want and they strive towards it. And a lot of associations here in Malaysia, they are pretty much encouraging women to be who they want to be, and also to take charge, to take roles in organizations, and also in whatever career they are at, because there's nothing that should stop them just because they're women. Just go after your dreams. And here I would pretty say that we do respect each other in every angle and every aspect, and I'm pretty blessed that things have evolved really far now compared to those days.
That's great, Nirmala. I'm noticing over your left shoulder is a picture of Buddha. And my question would be, what has been one lesson that Buddha has brought into your life?
Many. One lesson I would say, give love, give care without any expectations. Just fit abundantly, you know. And that's what I still practice, and I still hold on to it, and I think that's a fundamental that everyone should have. Doesn't matter if it's male or female, boys or girls, anyone. If you could just follow this simple thoughts of him, give love full-heartedly, abundantly, without any expectation in return, world will be a beautiful place.
Nirmala, that's a beautiful lesson. And that's what I'm looking for today, are people's little gems that when someone's hearing it, it might be that one trigger that allows them to go out and be more kind, to be more loving, to be more nurturing, without the expectation that you have to get something back. So Nirmala, thank you, and thank Buddha behind you for that message. Let me move back to Lynn. And Lynn, I noticed that you have incredible energies in your room. And what is something that you do as a ritual or a habit that uplifts you on a daily basis, that if you shared with us today, perhaps somebody might be able to adapt it or utilize it in uplifting themselves?
There we go. Lighting the spark, you know, the torch, the light, the spiritual practice of just lighting a candle, just opening yourself up to the light, just opening yourself up to that inner part of yourself, to bring your curiosity, to bring your passion, and to bring that compassion back into you. I think when you stare at a candle, you open yourself up. In my background is a harp, and the music and the vibration behind you and around you that surrounds you, your environment, your consciousness. That's a really key thing. And I'm so happy to meet my brother, Gerard. My native name is Kwaskwemkwe, and I'm grateful. I'm from the Delaware Nation, Algonquin tribe, and my grandmother was not to be spoken of. And so bringing forward behind me is a deer antler. And that came through a very deep ritual. And I was given a pipe to carry in the peace tradition. I've been leading lodges and workshops for many years, but I stopped and I buried my pipe thinking I wasn't Native American, and I actually was. So that deep earth connection is so key. So any of you out there, connect to something in nature today, no matter what. And for me, it's that candle in my home, but I also have plants back here. I bring nature into my home. And the essence of my kids growing up, feeding them traditionally from traditional foods is so key. So I think we purify ourselves each day in the tradition. Like I said, I have my sage here, and I just used sage to purify as we lit the first moment. And purification is key, cleansing your home. I use a number of things. I use tree branches with salt water, and I use traditional methods of blessing the east, the west, the north, and the south. But I also really follow my Christian traditions as well. So the ritual for me is an everyday ritual. What's coming forward in your life? What is that presence of the forward nation? And when we move into different cultures and different traditions, multiculturalism, learning from the children, learn today. The children will teach you everything. They'll give you everything. They'll give you your joy. I just went out to the sacred well with my grandkids, and they were so excited that the well was coming out of the mountain today. And they were so excited that they could see, like, Grandma, where does it come? And I said, it comes from the grace, it comes from the grace. Let's give thanks. Why do we celebrate all this? And it was like so beautiful. They just like opened up to this other whole realm of like, wow. And they were so excited about the taste of clean water coming out of the earth, So I think we need to bless this beautiful earth every moment that we have, and the breath. So many things. I'm always blessing the gifts of this beautiful earth. So I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm really excited, Nirmala, to hear your traditions, your rituals, your relationship to the women rituals that you might do. And I think ritualistic, I'm very much about ritual and cross-quarter days as well as regular days.
That's beautiful, Lynn. And what you've just shared with me, I want to distill for some of our people who might be listening for the first time. And again, one of the things that Lynn's message was nurture with nature. Folks, if you haven't been out, if you haven't gone for a walk, right now in Canada, in Toronto area, it's -8. And so getting out, and that's actually one of the things I did today is I got up early and I went for a walk in nature. Boo, it was chilly. Yet guess what? That was life force shaking the body. And it was absolutely beautiful. And then your idea of the candle. These are gifts. By doing a candle exercise, it nurtures your retina. It nurtures your body. It allows you to move. And if you then move like a candle, that will enliven the Kundalini energies, that will enliven the way that you work. And then I'm going to move over to Gerald, because he has this relationship with music and vibration. And when he brings in the drums or he brings in the flute, it allows people to really connect with Mother Earth and the gyrating planets that are above us. And this is all around us, yet in some ways, we've cut ourselves off to that. Gerard, what would you like to include as one or two things you do as a parent, as a father of young ladies? Maybe gentlemen, you maybe tell us a little bit more about your children, because your story of uplifting your young ladies in your life is really inspiring. Men, in some ways, are struggling with the ways to nurture the next generation, to love. Would you share one or two ways to love from your tradition or your ritual?
Wow, that's a big one. But I'll start with this. It comes to mind. My eldest daughter, when she was about 12, 13, that's when we'll have our coming of age ceremony. Yeah. And that coming of age ceremony among us as Karina people, until her, was not done for over 200 years. And as a result of that, you know, preparing for that day, and there's a whole bunch of things that needs to be done. And because you see, in our society, there's no teenagers. You have children, and then you become a young adult. That who comes a part of society, and it's going to contribute to society. It's going to contribute to the community. Very, very important. So, you know, so that they're not in this no man's land, right? And we, as Karina people, right, we bring about this honor and dignity, right? Something that was tried to be taken away from us. Mm-hmm. But these ceremonies are so important, you know? Like right now, my wife, she is just started a implementation for women, and it's called Fifth Fire. And actually, she just started about just like the beginning of this week, where she's taken women through a 6-week transformation, you know, and again, coming back to how the Creator has made us, right, as men and women, you know, and walking that out and to bring, because none of us are mistakes, you see, and empowering them to walk in their design, you know. You know, her email is coachpeta, PETA, @gmail.com if people are interested in knowing more about it. On Instagram, we are Okama999. You'll get some understanding there. But back to your original question there too. Yes, not Fit Fire, but Fifth Fire. Yeah, that's what's happening there. But back to your original question. So as my daughters too, I don't hold back, right? I don't pretend. I try to be always real. And you see, unlike Euro-American things, we don't leave like an inheritance, or when we die, we just don't leave an inheritance. While we live, we share the inheritance. How, like with finances or things, how to do these things. So, and then it's not just us as parents, but the grandparents as well. You see, in my home is my wife's parents. In my sister's home is my parents with her children. You see, we don't have these nursing homes among our people, and everybody has impact, not for just this generation, but for the 7 generations to come. You see, and it's only like when I was leaving home, there were things I had to do, and then I had to get the okay from my mom, her sister, my grandmother, you know, before I could leave home, you know, and they taught me about Yawana Noah to speak in a way that brings healing. Very important. What is our words? What is our thought process? You see, very important. What is it in our heart, right? And these, I mean, oh my goodness, it's such a broad thing. I could go on for days about
actually, it. Gerard, you brought a beautiful point here, is that words can be healing. They can also be like a knife. So everyone here today, maybe that's a takeaway, is to be more mindful of your words. Use words to encourage and support rather than rip and to pull down. And so that's a beautiful transition, because one of the people on the panel today has healed and has gone through the experience of a man called prostate cancer. Maybe Mr. Michael can unmute again and share 1 or 2 tips that he used to heal himself and part of the transgenerational family that he experiences in Trinidad.
Thank you very much. My apology for no video. We have lost electricity here, so that's why I'm not on. But you know, having to survive prostate cancer, one of the things that I've recognized is your support system, very crucial. And significantly, the kind of people that were my support system came in a very significant way from women. Came from my wife, who was with me and gave me the kind of support that I needed during that journey. I came also from her aunt, who was also a tremendous support. They both were at my bedside. This was the last couple that I saw before I took my surgery and went under anesthetic. And it was the first thing I saw when I got up back out of anesthetic. These people who were around me. And I think one of the things that we've got to do in this whole concept of family and support system that Gerard spoke about is to keep the family together, because one is too small a number to achieve greatness, says John Maxwell. So therefore, we need to be able to have a number of people in our circle of support. And we cannot discredit the value that both women and men bring together to make this happen. I want to say this as the last thing. My father said this many years ago prior to his passing. He said to us, either we swing together or we hang us separately. That I think is apt when it comes to the genders of men working along with women. Let us swing together, or else we will hang separately.
Thank you very much, Michael. That's wonderful information again. And it really does come down to let's explore ways to communicate and support each other. And I wanted to make a little transition back to Malaysia and this topic about mentoring. And I was going to ask Nirmala, what are your perhaps approaches to mentoring, either attracting mentors into your life or expressing your mentoring to other people? What's going on in Malaysia in the mentoring space?
For mentoring space, Dave, from my own experience, I would say that here, personally, for me, I do have a team of people under me that I take care of. I see them more as leaders, because here we are leaders to create leaders. For mentoring, I would say if you can visualize in a way that whoever you have with you, either in a team or whoever you meet, you just want to make a difference in their life. When your appearance is there, you want to add some values to them and give some inputs or share some knowledge that would certainly make a difference in their life. And for me, I personally hold on to this approach, and I still use this as my tool in my mentoring with my team, because I feel that end of the day, right, what you're going to take back is the impact or the difference you made in another person's life. And that's, for me, that is very meaningful. And if everyone can actually hold on to this and apply this in their daily life with whoever they meet, because when you leave a person or you leave a place or you leave a communications with a team of people or a society, you just want to make a difference in them and impact them in a way that it brings positive impact. And this is something that I think it's beautiful, and it will make people to be a true human being in their life's journey. And it's beautiful to create a lot of memories and good values in people around us. So that's what I personally do, and I hold on to it.
That's fantastic, Nirmala. And I imagine that as a mentor, you learn so much, because that's what's beautiful, like what Lynn was saying, when you play with children and you see their playfulness, and it almost re-engineers or re-sparkles our own thirst and curiosity for life and sensitivity, that it's just so beautiful. There's a beauty with the children's purity. Lynn, I'm going to flip the channel a little bit, though, because we are talking a little bit about men and boys and their challenges. What would be one or two of your approaches to assist people through shame and humiliation and embarrassment, something that is triggering so many self-harm, self-hurt, even suicide? So from your experience, what would be perhaps one or two ways to outreach and to let people know that they are cared for, even though they might be experiencing shame or humiliation?
I'm going to ring the bell. clear the space.
Thank you.
As we open up to shame, we're looking at ancestry trauma, most of us. We meet each other in trauma. We meet each other in the way of the past. Bringing yourself to this present moment, to be able to open yourself, to bring yourself to the breath, the sweetness of breath, and pray for your ancestors. Set up an ancestry altar. Set up something to heal. The idea of shame is for all of us. It's deep within. I just went to this amazing, we actually do solar, my sons and I have 2 sons and I have 3 daughters, like I said, and 2 of my sons and my son-in-law all do solar, and we help people go solar. And we went to a beautiful Pachamama event through our solar organization. And we had a blame, shame, and justify jar. And this was fantastic. It was just like every time you blame, shame, or justify something, you put money in the jar and you send it to your favorite organization. And you really take charge of yourself. I think when I'm looking at ritual and what we were just talking about with Michael and Gerard and community and connection, and the family life is also traumatized, and it's the voice of the word. And what I've seen this year, specifically worldwide, is the rhetoric that's happened. And we have to grow up. We have to stand for growing up in a way that we're adults and not children. The trauma has made us into these small beings, and you're much greater than that. And as I shine this light to you, I pray that each of you just take that moment right now. Just take a second. Let's just stop and drop in. Let's just taste the sweetness. Taste the sweetness of your breath. So I'm going to have you close your eyes. And you're just going to breathe in. The breath is sweet. And this simple exercise of remembering that when you were born and when you die, to take your last breath, in between is the preciousness of your breath every day. And that sweetness that surrounds you in day-to-day life is that gift. And what you put in comes back out. What you put in extreme comes back out. So that simple order, the natural order of life, the natural rhythm, the rhythms of life is key to help with shame, blame, and justification. And open yourself to that beautiful heart that you are, that beautiful soul that you are, because you came here for a purpose. And I've written a book, Remembrance to Remember. And when we remember that soul part of ourselves, that soul preciousness. And in our native tradition, the soul remembrance is all about community. And we need to remind each other that love that Nirmala just said. Nirmala brought in that beautiful word love. But that deep curiosity of love, what am I feeling? What am I feeling, that inner part of myself? I always have to continue to open and receive from my brothers and sisters to learn more. So bless you all. Thank you.
Let me, that was beautiful. And I'll bring one of my little one. Thank you. That was really beautiful. And I really do invite people today to start exploring the relationship with a candle, explore the relationship with breathing. And it's fascinating when we allow and invite consciousness into our thoughts as opposed to feeling that we are our thoughts. And that's a beautiful sharing that Lynn. And Lynn, I just like on a side, I've been interviewing some authors in the last 6 weeks. So perhaps offline we can arrange an interview and you can share a little bit more about your book, and we can post it on YouTube and perhaps share it with more people around the world, because I have a feeling your message and your integration with Pachamama and a relationship with letting go and ancestral trauma release could be really something that can serve. So thank you so very much. As I move into this next word, as we move from the shame and the blame, I love this next topic, and I'm going to bring Gerard in there because I might even get him to grab one of his drums if he chooses to. Yet self-confidence, self-esteem, Gerard, what would be 1 or 2 ways that you might be able to share with us today that can invoke confidence, self-esteem?
Wow. What's important to me, as Lynn was saying, and I'm just paraphrasing here, is that there's a lot of noise in this world. A lot of noise that wants to put us in a box. And more, I know for myself, I'm more interested in what my mother has to say about me. I'm more interested in what my father has to say about me, and my grandparents, and my sister, my iani, or in English you say wife, or my children. And when I understand where I'm at in my community, then I have to step up to the place. You know about the dream catcher, and a lot of people know about the dream catcher, and you may have heard one teaching, but this is the teaching that I know, that the dream catcher is in a circle that represents the one who created everything, right? From the beginning, he has no beginning, no end, our creator. And in between is the web of life that is all connected. And if one knot was to come apart, the whole thing struggles. But the creator, there's no change. And we are here to be the one that speaks the healing. I look, and I have to go back into history. My mom was the only one in our community that survived tuberculosis surgery. To today, she still has. They said she could not have children, but today, here I sit, and my sister, and we have children. So you see, when I go back and I think about what our people have gone through, and Creator has given them the strength to overcome these things. And my mom will always look at everyone and say, Gerard, remember, they had a mother, or they have a mother. And also they have been created in the image of the Creator. So all of a sudden, I'm looking at people in a different way. You see? And that's so important. You see, as Haudenosaunee, as Karina people, we are peacemakers, not peacekeepers. We will fight for peace. We will fight for peace. But that's our last option. That's our last option. And we will do that with the wisdom given by the mothers. You see? So my confidence is not in myself, but in the one who has created me, and for the people, for my family, right? And for those that are around us, because we are caretakers. And as the elder brother, we have to look after those that have come. I'm part of the Rusketa the Men's Fire, and we are the policers that look at what's happening to the land and all around. And once we know that our responsibility, we want to enforce it. It's something that we will die for. So you come and you ask, about confidence and who we are, who I am, And the other thing too is to not be afraid of failure. That's okay. We could learn. words right and wrong. We have right and not right. You have to take a little time to digest and understand that. Some of these things that I'm saying are to be caught and not taught. Some of these things you have to walk through. And I think in our communities, especially here in North America, we have to be prepared in this new world. You know, we have a prophecy. They came to us in the beginning, they'll come to us again. What would you do if you didn't have electricity? What would you do if you don't have clean running water? I have friends, I have people, family who live in these conditions.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second, Gerard, because I'm going to come back to you, but I'm going to invite Michael. You talked about electricity. He's down to 5% on his phone. So, Michael, if you have an opportunity to come back on the screen, I'd love to get your last words on what are the ways that we can honor the elderly.
Honoring the elderly, I think continuing their traditions. Many of the elders have laid down certain traditions and principles that sometimes even as a younger generation, we don't understand what those principles and traditions mean. But in order for a generation to continue, they must be able to use the oral and the down of the traditions and the various aspects of it in order to continue certain fundamental things. While there are things to change, there are certain things such as relationships with family, such as the things that make a family unique, the culture of a community that must continue. And so that is one of the things I think that honors them more than talk, is really understanding what they fought for, what they died for, and what they lived for. And we are now continuing in our generation.
Michael, thank you so much for joining us. I realize you have some electricity issues in Trinidad today. We appreciate that you've been bringing your phone down to the last 5%. Your messaging and your sharing is beautiful, and thank you so very much. I want to go back to Gerard and read this poem, given that you were talking about the spider. At world's end, if I could weave a giant web of my heart that's broken pieces, I would spin a tapestry to toss over the remaining species, big enough and wide enough and tough enough to deflect the heartless, mindless march of death perpetrated by my own kind. If I could like and click and share a million warnings from this machine, it would be but a ripple in the web, largely gone unseen. If I could plant a million trees, would my grandchildren still eat? If I could weave this web with you, we may not face defeat. That was Earth Dancer 2019, and it's entitled Grandmother Spider Weaves the World. And I invite you maybe pick up one of the words there as you continue sharing a little bit of your self-confidence, your strategy to feel that you're willing to lay down your life for what is right or not right.
Yeah, correct. There's just so much, and as I said before, there's a lot of noise. And that's why it's so important that when we wake up, that and we have our first breath, we understand where that comes from and how fortunate we are. And one of the first things I do in the morning is some movements that my wife came up with. As I burn my sage and and bless the space and clear the space. She came up with these movements that helped me to focus my day and really put things in focus, because, as I said, there's a lot of noise out there, and we need to get rid of the noise. There's continual negative news, and we are spirit beings, and we need to move by the spirit, and it means separating soul and spirit, because we live, and again, I think I was saying something about living in this first world country. You know, today, as I went to the clinic, and I didn't have my cell phone, and that was okay. That was okay. But some can't do without it, you know? And it's a tool. And we should control the tool, you see? And that's with everything. And relationship is so important. Relationship with our clients, relationship with all around us, this relationship, a new relationship with these wonderful new friends that I'm meeting. And that's what it's about. How can I make your life better?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you succeed, guess what? I succeed. And it may be just one person. It may be just that one person. I'll give you a little scenario. Back last year around this time, as being a wampum carrier, when people come into our community, especially if they're from an indigenous background, I'll go and welcome them onto the land. And so this particular guy, he came onto the land here, and I knew he was in the area, and I thought, you know, from what I could see, he embraces his indigenous heritage. He loves his family. He cares for his children, you know. And so I went, and it was a set. And there were guys with guns and bodyguards and all this kind of stuff. But I didn't mind. I just went right in. Nobody stopped me. Set. And people came up and they say, well, you know, you could meet at 3 o'clock or whatever. And I go, no. This is the way we do it. And I know that he will honor that. And he came over. And from my garden that I made my sage, I was able to protocol. And protocol is so important. And we could talk about that another time. And so I gave Jason Momoa sage grown from my garden, and welcome onto the land. We embraced, we chatted, you know, just to know that to be welcome from a caretaker in this area, and what an honor to be able to do that, you know. And so you talk about self-confidence, you know, we do what we need to do, ordained by the Creator, and that's more important than the government. And when this is endorsed by our parents, my Iani, or wife, and my children, you know, by my community, that's most important. And that's the other thing too. Among our people, we don't have consensus. That means 100% of the people have to agree. And that could take days. It's not a 51%, 49%, you know, because you're going to have about half of the people upset. And that needs to be addressed. Their concerns matter. And again, I'll continue to be who the Creator has created me to be. Again, that's a whole lot of teaching. And, but it's exciting. It's exciting to be able to walk it out and see the fruits of that.
Thank you, Gerald. I'm going to shift the energy again once more, bring on the very lovely and talented Lynn. And Lynn, it is International Women's Day and we are celebrating. Yet you also are very familiar, because of the energy that you bring, is that we've had many fallen friends, particularly in the last year. And so I'm not sure if you want to ring your bells again, yet I would love you to share a little bit about suicide.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to do a prayer that I welcome you to lead to anyone who has had the experience of a beloved passing over, and to maybe say a few words that may assist those on that journey. And the thing about suicide, which is something that I've written about this past year also, in my latest book called Get 2020 Vision, is while there's 4,000 people approximately in Canada who commit suicide yearly, it affects 7 to 10 people around them who aren't taught or trained or explained ways to deal with it, honor it, find meaning from it. And perhaps you would share a little blessing, perhaps some words on ways to assist those who are experiencing suicide.
Let's all take a breath again. Just stop. Let's open our hands to those that may have lost loved ones. Let's bring in a small ritual of love and surround. As the smoke spirals up around me, as I clear the space, the moment of time is just now. We need to give space. Space is key. Space for generational trauma, again. Anyone that has experienced someone passing is needing space. As I open to my brothers and sisters, I open to this process and this presence with you. I have not experienced suicide, but the thoughts have been there. The thoughts come and they go. It's a doorway. The thoughts come and go into our soul life, but we have to know what we've put in comes back out. What we hear, and a good friend of mine says, what we see, we hear, and what we hear, we see. As a woman that has brought forward a lot of men and women that have had abortions and developed relationships and ritual, another good friend said, the souls are from here to the moon that need our prayers. So let us stop. Let us stop for just space right now. Because space gives you time to release. Space gives you time to open yourself and hear something new. If there's rattling, grab a bell. If there's rattling, say one word. Maybe it's grace, because grace does appear in that moment. Grab a candle. Light a candle just now. There's no better, greater time than just to light a candle. And I'll offer up what comes. Dearest Creator, Bring us the breath. Show us the way. Show us the offering to our brothers and sisters struggling. Those on the streets to those to the highest positions. There is no hierarchical structure except from your heart. Your heart beats, our heart beats together. The sound of this beautiful earth, the sound of the river waves. May they carry you to the ocean of your tears. May you cry the tears of this beautiful nature herself and give them back. She will receive you. She will surround you, and she will honor you. No, nice spoken.
Thank you. Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you all, friends who've joined and get an opportunity to share this, as it's a way to create the space and then allow the release. It's not about suppressing, hiding. It's about honoring and releasing. And I thank you so much for allowing this space. We had somebody who was going to join us today in our conversation, and a beloved passed over in the last 48 hours. It's one of the reasons why she's not here. And Sivam and I were exploring ways to honor. And I thank Lynn, Gerard, Nirmala very much for being part of a trust circle. A trust circle that my body is tingling right now because there's life force flowing through it. And it's a combination of many energies, yet, as Nirmala shared earlier, there's a love. As Gerard said earlier, sometimes it's not the words, it's the vibrational healing from his magical flute. And then there's the beautiful energy exchange that Lynn's sharing through the words, through the candle, through the breath. And by bringing that and integrating it with love and with light, the space serves the release, and the trauma can be cleared. I would love the opportunity to offer the space now. If there's a question that Nirmala might have for Lynn, or Lynn might have for Gerard, that allows that honoring now, that if a curiosity is popping up, as Lynn has so brilliantly shared today, that curiosity of a child, that delight, playfulness might come through and pose a new beginning. When we celebrate women, when we offer men the opportunity to play, dance, celebrate, step into our masculine divinity, it's not playing small. It's rising above, where both women and men come together to serve humanity, Mother Earth, and our ancestors. As we sit up, we look with glee and delight. Lynn, do you have a question for Gerard or for Nirmala or for Sivam or me? What's little curiosity is popping for you right now?
I want my brother Sivam to speak.
Beautiful.
I really want to say, first of all, I want to thank you, all of you. You know, it's not easy, especially since last year we're going through is almost more than 1 year, just past 1 year. Every new opportunity, obstacles, everything happening for a reason. That's why we are connected here. There's no other way around. Everything is pre-planned. Everything is unbalanced. We are the one actually making or having a doubt, self-doubt. Those are the things. And so if we can save, just want to take one step back. In sperm, 1.2225 millions of lives comes, but only 1 or 2, 3, maybe few comes to this earth and start the journey. And if suddenly something happened or for any reason it's stopped or sudden death, it is not really acceptable. It is not sad. It is not acceptable for me. So if we can save one life, change one mindset through this platform, or the last 1.5 hours almost, we can save with one word, one message, one sharing. That's more than enough. And it's sad, like since we started last couple of months, I didn't want to hear that, but it's a nature. It's a that's part of life. We cannot blame everything for ourselves, but it's also how we can help each other. That's what it is. Soul is a soul. So there's no gender identity, male or female or any other gender. So rather than speaking on different aspect of it, just that's one of the reason, only one purpose. We are here for love and share, help each other. That's all, nothing else. So I really want to thank all of you. It's not only 4 or 5 or 6, two people, they couldn't make it in the last minute, but it's not about us. The people, whoever is watching or listening this message, don't just listen. Take into your heart and do something about it. That's what it is. Because we don't necessarily want to hear one more word about suicide. I am very shocked nowadays because we never, in our early childhood, we never know the meaning or never heard about the word suicide. Now it's fashion or it's trending. So it's very unfortunate. So how we can help? It doesn't matter either young children or adult or senior. It doesn't matter. So that's what I want to bring you to share with all of you guys. So I really want to thank everybody. So soul is a one soul. So 4,600 traits we all have. Whatever I have, you have. Whatever you have, I have. So we don't need to compete. Just look for your inner church, inner calling. That's all. If you find the purpose, that's how I'm here with the purpose. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking to you, any of you guys, though. Somehow that happened, and I could find that the purpose, the reason for the life. Thank you.
Gerard, any questions that you might want to ask or expression that might be resonating with you at the moment?
On the topic of suicide, I think the root is the lack of hope. And my hope, my prayer is that if, just like what Sivan said, if it could help one person, you know, in our community, among our people, we have 2 birthdays: the day of conception and the day of delivery. You know, again, life is precious, and it needs to be fulfilled. And when there's no hope, you know, that is attacked. And so we are to bring hope, and that's one of the reasons why I accepted being a part of this. I hope. I mean, there was a time I was on the streets. I dropped out of university twice, and I was on the streets of Toronto. And then Creator got a hold of my heart and rearranged my mind, and he used my wife Pita as an instrument in instilling hope back into me, and lots of cool stories about that. And dyslexia was an issue. I remember going back to university, and I was 59% was my average, and I was saying, Creator God, you wanted me to be a veterinarian. How is this? And all of a sudden, he started to show me, or the Creator started to show me how me, should study, how I should understand, and be with how I have been created. And all of a sudden, it was 97 and 94 and 91 was my average, you know? But then again, that's another story. And there's so much, you know? And so when people walk and you give hope, and I pray that these words, not just from me, but from all that are speaking here, would bring hope to you. A hope that will ring loud and clear through the noise of this world. Because our Creator did not make a mistake in creating you or me. And I'm looking forward. My mom would say, bloom where you're planted. Bloom where you're planted.
Well, Gerard, you've brought a lot of hope today to people. Your energy, your depth of wisdom is something that's brought a lot of joy for me today. And I must admit, I'm going to also say something rather peculiar. Your hat is amazing. I love the energy of your hat. Could you tell us a little bit about your hat?
Okay, this is here is the Warrior's hat.
It's gorgeous.
When
it's vibrational.
When it was designed initially, that when you saw this as a flag, people will come, our people will come to the rescue, to stand with you. You see? And it represents Rescalgeta, the men's fire, you know, the warriors that will come. And and just like what my wife is doing for women, bringing out those warriors, that fifth fire. That's what's about.
Yeah.
So I wear this today to symbolize that, there is help, there is hope, and we're not here for a handout. We're here for a hand up. And that's a difference.
Absolutely, Gerard. I so resonate with that as somebody who, if I put my camera up a little bit, the little thing that you see behind my shoulder is a lacrosse stick. I played lacrosse from age 5 to 22, including my last year as Canadian champion. And I have played and had great battles with my dear friends on the Six Nations. And so there's a warrior energy, and also the invitation to the woman warrior. That energy is what brings us into reality. Without that woman warrior, none of us would be here. That's what we also want to honor in International Women's Day. Nirmala, I'm going to bring it back to Malaysia. Something that you're grateful for, share in the next 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you so very much for sharing your delightful energy from Malaysia. What's something that you'd love to express some gratitude or anything else that is resonating with you at the moment?
Okay. What resonates to me at the moment, I would say, being a woman, I'm so blessed and grateful. All right. Firstly, I'm blessed with the experience and learning my mom has given me, because she's my role model. And I truly understand and believe that in life, there's many challenges each one of us will face. Whether you are a woman or a man, life will have challenges because it's meant to teach us. That's why we are here. And like what Gerard said, have hope and trust in the process, trust in the Creator. We are here for a purpose. Go back to the purpose, hold on to the purpose, why you are here, what drives you, what kind of a person you want to be, your being. Focus on the being, and just share and spread love, positivity, care. Be a valuable human being to one another. Care for each other unconditionally. And I would say life would be beautiful. It's a beautiful journey because life itself is a gift. And let's help each other and make a difference in one another's life. And let's make this world a beautiful place for us and also for the next generation. That's what we are here for, till the last breath comes, we are in the gap, right? So let's do the best and give the best, and without any expectation. All right, we are here as a human being, as a soul, with a purpose. Let's strive towards that. And I'm so blessed that I'm born as a human in this birth, and as a woman more so ever. I feel that it's a true blessing. This life itself is a true blessing for me, and I'm so grateful.
Thank you so very much. And I will bring a question to Lynn, as probably very close to bringing it to a completion today. Is men's lives matter? Lynn, share a little bit about.
I want to share a quick story. The founder of the natural food movement, Aveline Kushi, in America, started one person at a time. She started making futons. She started making tofu. She started making natural foods. The feds and all were coming to the office where she was, and she had to sit on the garbage can to hide all the books of the natural food way. But what she did say at the end is that her husband always said yes. So I want to bring forward just what all of you have given to me today. The presence of saying yes to the feminine is the receptive within you. The receptivity, receive the fluids of the woman, receive the presence of the woman. I've taught a lot around this, and I think it's really key. Men move into the feminine presence. but they have to receive back up and receive the grace that's been given to them, because a woman will help you thrive. The women will give your energy back to you. The women will give you all that you've ever been given. So bless and be blessed, and bless the women in your lives, every single one of them. And bless and continue to receive that blessing, because you came through the womb of the feminine, and you will come back through the earth of this presence, of this beautiful gift that you've been given, called life.
Beautiful, Lynn. And it's just such a beautiful way to bring the session to a completion. I believe that everyone here has shared some delightful insights and ways and approaches to serve and to honor International Women's Day, and to bring in that, yes, men's lives matter. And I love the analogy that Gerard brought in, that honor your mother, your father, your beloveds. Act, speak, express joy, kindness, compassion, patience, and love. If you want to distill it down to one word that Nirmala and Sivam have shared so brilliantly, love, love, love. And with that, Sivan, I think, has one last little thing he wants to share. Please do so, Sivan.
I want to thank, actually, Voice of Men wants to thank every one of you guys, also the supporting partners. Without asking questions, sometimes we have difficulties, why we want to support you guys. But most of them, or 99% of them, they never ask anything. They just support it. So we understand it's a great cause. So yes, thank you, all of you. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.
Mabrika.
Ale, Hallelujah. Ale, Hallelujah. Oh, yeah, come my Love you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Be in touch.
All right.
Keep
See
in
you later.
touch.
Mabrika.
Have a wonderful day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Bye.
Happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.